Welcome to TUG 2020, June 4th. We're pleased, as with all of us, learning how to unmute yourself is a new skill we have all learned in the past month or two. I want to say welcome to everybody that's come from all across the country. I think this is our largest TUG ever. Actually, I know this is. It's our largest TUG ever. And so having a virtual TUG has afforded us with some new opportunities to reach far and wide beyond our roots here in the Midwest. I'm Patrick Beezer, president of Northwoods. That's me on the left over there. And joining me today is John. Good morning, John. Are you online?
I am. Good morning, everyone. I'm John Cool.
And John's our chief Titan architect, putting the brains behind and the energy behind all the stuff that you're going to see today and beyond. But there's more than just John and I. There's a whole company of about 40 people. Here are some of them shown in this picture from not too long ago, where we actually have, I think, actively working on the Titan project, about 6 to 8 people were working on the base product. And all 40 of us here at Northwoods have some intimacy with Titan product line. Want to welcome our clients from all across the country here today. This is, I think, a splash of all the logos of everybody who is participating in the webinar today. This will actually not only be our largest TUG ever, but also probably our fastest one. And unfortunately, we won't be able to buy you lunch today. We'd have liked to have done that and a chance to shake hands and be in the same room with you all. But we're going to have the opportunity to chat as we go forward. So talk about that in a second here. 50 companies and organizations are participating, 85 participants total. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to participate today. I think some of you have figured out how to use the chat already. I can see the chats on the screen going by. We're going to spend about a half an hour on a client showcase, show and telling some of the work that we have done over the past year since the last we met, to show off the projects that you have had and your individual websites, and hopefully get you some ideas that you might be able to take home and integrate on your own stuff. And then the highlight today, Titan 7.0, what we've been working on for over a year. And we're going to showcase and release it. And I'm sure one of the first questions that many of you are going to ask is, when is it going to be available? And the answer is, it's available now. So we've upgraded already a few of our internal websites. We're up and functioning, and we're in good shape. So form a line slowly, because we don't want a big rush here. But if you'd like a version of 7.0 after you see what we have to offer today, but we'll put a plan together for you and get you going. I'll talk about how you could do the upgrades and a new package we have called Total Care. And then just very briefly about Titan 7.1 and beyond. Again, all the way through, if you have questions, type them in to the chat, which is down here below. You should see that in your webinar screen. I think if you raise your hand, I certainly cannot see you, but our team here that's monitoring the webinar can see that. But mostly appreciate the chat. If you want to send the chat to all the panelists, that's just John and I and a few people monitoring, you can do it there if you want a private question. Otherwise, if you want to send it to all the attendees, especially if you have a question about some feature or something, probably would appreciate chatting with everybody so they can see what kind of questions you're asking, and it might spur a question for them to ask as well. So you're welcome to do that. You just have to make that change down below in your chat window to make sure that you're directing it in the right direction. So without further ado, let's jump into some of the recent Titan launches. I'm going to go back and forth between the PowerPoint and some live looks at the websites as we go over here. And I'm going to feature, I think we have 10 or so different case studies we want to talk about. And these are the Living as a Leader, a client that sells leadership training work, Milwaukee Irish Fest. Unfortunately, their festival was canceled this year, but we're going to show you the redesign effort and talk about that a little bit. A new site we launched just 3 weeks ago, My Frontline Hero, talk about some of the cool stuff that's going on over there. Pactive Earth Choice, a manufacturer of paper good products, and how they did data integration with their backend ERP, Flexco, some cool design elements on their new product line that they're offering. Snap-on Corporation celebrating their 100th anniversary this year in a new website redesign that we were proud to put together. And one of the things they have is acknowledging all of their dealers across the country, and a website we put together for that, which is kind of cool. Private document library for Pactive for an intranet. You have to log in there. Same thing with Curative. We have an intranet in a box for Curative Care. Really cool solution done with Titan. Diversified label solutions, showing how you could have flexibility with the themes inside of a Reflex template. Talk about Reflex a little bit. And finally, a healthcare provider, iCare, and an event calendar with a really cool forms option inside there. So let's jump in. Here's a Living as a Leader. Let's go to the website. So Living as a Leader, back over to the home page here. Nice little thing. You'd notice that we've integrated a lot of animations and other pieces. Is kind of now a standard part of our base Titan Reflex template. you're seeing everybody that gets a new Titan site, with very few exceptions, is going to be launched off of the Reflex template, which gives you a lot of flexibility in how the site displays content. You have the ability to put all these different stripes of information in on all of your landing pages, in addition to a mega menu. You see they're using the mega menu package, which is now a standard offering inside of 695 and 7.0 going forward. Here they also have the leadership events calendar, which we're going to talk about as kind of a primary focus for what Living a Leader has done. Inside of their calendar package, this is a Titan base feature. You get this calendar right out of the box as a package. Here you can search for any calendar event based on a date range. We got a nice date picker, so June 1st all the way up to, let's say, the end of July. What's going on in the Milwaukee area? We can see here it is, and I can look for keywords inside there. So if I was looking for the word emerging, it would go and it would find that content inside there. So once I am loading this particular calendar item, I go to a calendar detail page, again, base Titan, and they're doing all their workshops now via Zoom also. When I register and fill out the form here on the site, get a little bit of information. It's a customized form. And you'll notice this is a Titan base form for submissions, and it's got some flexibility that other systems don't necessarily have. So I can float. Many of you have put together Titan forms, and you've had the fields stacked across the top here. And it was fairly challenging to be able to float them next to each other like it is over here, especially so that would work well on a mobile device. And now with a couple little customizations inside the actual form builder, you're able to put in classes around these different fields in order for them to float in a very attractive way on the screen. And after you fill out this sign up form and you register and submit, what happens next, go back to the PowerPoint here, is 2 emails are sent. One that goes to the manager with a whole bunch of information relative to what that person is signed up for. And now the team that manages this information gets a notification that someone has signed up, and an email is sent to the participant that's different. And so 2 emails are spurred and launched from that form when it is completed. So that's a nice new feature that's been a slight customization that was built in for Living as a Leader. Next up, Milwaukee Irish Fest. We had, unfortunately, the Irish Festival had to be canceled this year due to the pandemic. We're sad about that, but this was part of their redesign for their 40th anniversary with a nice new look and feel. Again, featuring animations, a small little video on the front, the ability to scroll down, a pop-up information to be able to subscribe to their newsletter, kind of a standard feature. And now you can see all the information about what's going on and how to go deeper into the 7 different websites that are hosted in Titan: Irish Music Archives, online music classes, the Irish Community, and more recently, Frontline Hero, one of the sites that they're co-sponsoring along with us. So we're pleased to be a part of that. We want to give a little shout out. This would have been the first festival this year without Ed Ward, who passed away last fall. He has been a great visionary for Irish Fest and a true friend of Northwoods. And so we miss Ed, and just wanted to do a little shout out over there. Here's all, real quickly, the all of the different Irish websites. Each one of these is a separate different website, all built on Titan CMS. Along with Irish Fest, when they found out that the festival was going to be canceled, they came to us with an idea of how can we, when they're in the middle of a pandemic, and actually before the festival was canceled, they came up with an idea, which is how can we acknowledge and do something for the people that are on the front line helping us, risking their lives in all the different ways. And so we came up with an idea together called My Frontline Hero. And this is a collection of stories that have been collected from the general public, have submitted them through Submit a Hero form. And the site is actually live and up online right now, where we have a whole collection of different people, how a bunch of engineers put together to build these face masks for some nurses, what the kids of Milwaukee are doing, drawing chalk all over the sidewalks. The Poet Laureate of the United States offering poems at the time for what to do in the sense of grieving, etc. So lots and lots of really cool stories. When you submit a hero, which you're welcome to do anytime you'd like, maybe after TUG today, you can come back and think of a story that would be interesting or compelling, somebody that's making a difference or has a new idea or solving a problem for how to school kids at home and how to deal with Zoom sessions all day long. All these stories are things we're looking for. Good news stories, frankly. And so, again, don't worry about the story. But I'm going to show you the interesting part that's relevant to TUG is that on this site, after you submit a story, we have a page that we can do using the base features of Titan, where I can go and I can look at stories that are submitted. I can log in here. And on there, I can see all of the stories that have come into the queue in the last couple days, where we can take a peek to see what's going on. This one is just in. So I can take a peek at the story. These are not published yet. And obviously it needs to be cleaned up a little bit over here. So it looks like a nice image, looks like a nice story. What do we do with that? Well, now there's an additional feature on there where I can go and edit the story. This is using a Titan base feature where it pops up the Titan data editor. Right there on the display side, I can make a change to the headline. I'm not going to do it right now, but this is something where I might actually take this content right over here, bring it into the editor, and I might even actually bring it into Word and then paste it back in here and clean this up a little bit, do a little curation and talk about what's going on. We might actually call up and get some additional stuff and then go and load up an additional image inside of the system. And she submitted an image right over here, so I can browse to that image. I can take a look to see what that looks like. There it is. I can see Titan has made all these different sizes automatically. There's a very large one as the original, so we're probably going to want to edit that. Right, again, all from the display side. I can resize it over here, constraining to get it down. We need a 400 by 400 sized image when we're all done. And so I can be able to do a crop. Actually, what I'm going to have to do is crop that first. So I would go into the cropping function and edit it. So anyways, all the things that are available inside of Titan, I can go right there, make an edit, probably make a new version of that image, save it, and off it goes. When it's all done, I can add the tags to where it appears on the website. I can set the priority. So these are the different sections of the website. This is the priority, how high it's going to appear up on the page based on our judgment as to the value of that story. And I can fill in the city, state, zip. I can update all the social sharing content automatically when I'm done putting it in here, so that when I share it to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, all of those tags are set correctly with all the graph information that's needed to make those work correctly. And then finally, set it live by clicking on the publish button. Done. That story is live on the website. And so if you have these types of content that either might be submitted by employees or contributions to your resource library, or perhaps something like we're doing with the general public, where images and or news, information, events, other submissions are coming in, this is all base Titan now. And so the ability to enable unpublished information, unvetted information that shows up in a queue here, and the ability to add additional items and then do all this display without ever having to go into the back end of Titan is something that's available at any point in time to you. So that's Frontline Heroes. Talk about a little bit about Pactiv Earth Choice. Pactiv is a manufacturer of product packaging products. They're located outside of Wisconsin. I don't know if they're actually on the call today. I apologize, but welcome Pactiv if you guys are here. And what we have on their website is a product catalog. On the front page. Yeah, nice video going on the front page here. So we're seeing more and more clients put in this kind of branding and welcoming information on the homepage of their website. And here we have one video rotates up to a second page, which is more the traditional static information where you can read all about Pactiv. But they're a great big manufacturer, and they use a data management application, a PIM, called Salsify. And inside of that, that is where they maintain all of their product information. So they had a challenge that was to how do we get this information that they're updating all of the time inside of their PIM with newer products and updated products, et cetera, to feed automatically into Titan. And that's what we took on that challenge and built them this data site here inside of Titan that allows for all the active filtering that you know and love inside of Titan. So good integration over there. You guys have all seen the filter blocks on and on and on, but that has been integrated fully. So all of these tags and attributes that you see over here are being fed from Salsify. The data information that you see here is being fed from Salsify, and it's been externalized inside of Titan so that we can get that all managed. They had to clean up their data. One of the challenges that they have, and that's always a challenge whenever we do integrations with external databases, is that we can do the feed over here. But it's actually kind of a really nice way for our customers to figure out what needs to be adjusted and cleaned, especially tagging and some of the other property information that you see in internal databases and PIMS and ERP systems. Very often that data needs some assistance. Nothing better than getting it shining some sunlight on it by putting it out on a public website like we're feeding over here, and being able to see before you launch the site all the areas where you need to get some of your data in better order. Next up, we have Flexco. Flexco is a global manufacturer of mining equipment down in the Chicago area. And we've been pleased to be working with them for more than a few years. And they have launched a new product, the Elevate product line here, which you're seeing. I'm scrolled down on the page a little bit. Let's go back up to the top. And what is Elevate? We go back over to the home page. You again have video running, introducing. So this is a product launch where they wanted to be able to push this out with all sorts of campaigns and drive traffic to the website to educate them as to what this new intelligent belt conveyor system had to offer. And so lots of interaction over here on the page. As we scroll down, you can see really well laid out and interesting interactive animations and graphics that are all done with good JavaScript libraries that we're able to put together for them. Nice designs. Then how you get to how it works. Another, I think, information related page. This is meant as a landing page to drive traffic, to explain what is this product, how does it work, and why should I buy it, explaining how the different devices work. I'm not going to explain their whole product line here, but as we go through here, you can see there's other interactive elements on the page as you go down that you can hover over and see the content changing as I hover over different parts and pieces of the page. We got what is it over here. As I go over here, you can see again, once again, as I'm hovering over the different sections of the site, how the content is changing real time based on different hover states. So nice little, well-designed, I think a very attractive design. It goes a long way to explaining a complex product line to a global audience for Flexco. In addition, this is just one of the many sites we work on for them. This is a new product line website as they get more and more into the Internet of Things. So IoT is one of the latest things in manufacturing, and Flexco is one of the leading edges of that. Snap-on makers and fixers in their 100th anniversary. Congratulations to Snap-on for their 100th anniversary. We're happy and proud to be their partner for many years. I think 15 plus years we've been working with Snap-on. And this is in addition to their public websites. We have a whole bunch of other smaller sub-sites, microsites, and or not bigger than microsites. This one was put together as a way to recognize and acknowledge all of the stories of the dealers all around the country who are the makers and the fixers that were allowed to share their story. So kind of similar to what we're doing on My Frontline Hero is we were able to put together this page here, main landing page. This is available from the home page of the Snap-on website, where you can see all across the country all of the people that are making a difference in the Snap-on franchises. Here I'm zeroed in on the state of Florida at the moment. So if we went over to Wisconsin, click over there, hang on while we gather the data. Here's all the stories from Wisconsin. And then you can see as we hover over them a little bit, some of these stories are a little bit bigger. You can click on the read more, brings up a shadow box where you can scroll through additional stories. And it's a nice way to acknowledge their dealers, to say thank you in their 100th anniversary, the people that make Snap-on the success that they are. I can clear the filter in any wait and time, and then we go back to the global list. As you can see, it's loading just in time, nice responsive site, but brings up the information as you need it as we go through there. And actually, as you saw me, I'm able to make a clickable map. This is now a package that's available in Titan 695 and 7.0 going forward. So you can click on an individual state, and that applies a filter. You see your filter over here, you scroll down, see the stuff. If you actually happen to know the name of one of the guys that's in these pictures, etc., you can search for them. You also have the standard Titan filters where we can look by the different states or the different industries that these guys work in. That same thing works with Canada and a global map. If we go to the global map, you see the map of the world doing the exact same thing, telling the story. And now I can expand by looking in different industries. So it's a nice way for these guys to look for each other and have a shared sense of community. All right, Snap-on makers and fixers. Next up, Pactiv. Back to Pactiv. They have a need. They build a lot of sustainability products, recyclable things, and there's regulations and rules different across the whole United States. So if you're trying to make a purchase and get socially involved in making a line of sustainability products or buying them, one of the things you might want to have available is a library. And so what we have over here is this is a private intranet that I have logged into here. And so on their pactivesustainability.com website, when you log in as a customer here of them, you have a private login. You're giving a name and a password, and it takes you into this website. And now you have a very large collection, a library of information that you can use to try to sell and explain and buy and purchase and learn about all of the sustainability things that Pactive has to offer. You can see all of the information that's over here. So as a customer, this would be the first thing that you see as you log into the site. Actually, it's not the first thing that you see, but it would be the main library page as we come through here. And we'd see a list of all the resources, presentations available, marketing claims, bans and restrictions. So here's another Titan database. As you know, each city, or maybe you don't know, each city across the United States has different rules of what's allowed. And so now you can search in your hometown and be able to find within your state or province what sustainability requirements are, what's compostable, what's recyclable, and what particular things that you might be interested in purchasing are restricted and the date. So they keep this database up to date. So this is a nice resource available for the people who buy products from Pactive. Their Earth Choice library is a private portal available to customers who can log in and access this information. Next up, Curative Care. Curative is a local provider of services to the special needs population around Southeast Wisconsin. They have a variety of different programs for people who have all different types of needs. And they needed a way to have a quick intranet available to make available to them. This is a intranet in a box. And so you have available to any employee who works at Curative Care, policies, procedures, best practices, forms, and all of this available in a very quick out of the box. This is kind of a small, medium effort to build kind of an intranet in a box ready to go for if you want to whip something up for just employees. There it is. You can use filter blocks, load up all of your policies here, be able to search it by all the standard things, all the standard keywords. So if I want to find physicians' orders, policies inside of there, this all works really well. We also have all of the forms that you might have to use internally. Intranets makes this available to employees to have quick access to that. This actually was built and just launched about a month and a half ago, just as the pandemic was starting. And so everybody went home, including Jessica, who is one of our contacts over there. And she's the only person who got into the staff directory. So I'm sure as soon as they all return to Curative, they'll load up the rest of the people into the staff directory here. But this is all maintained through Titan data nodes, kind of an intranet ready to go, and a very powerful and easy to use resource intranet for your employees. So if that's something that would be of use to you, that's something we have readily available inside of Titan. Getting a little bit more onto the display side stuff, I want to just be able to show off some of the display flexibility that Titan has. There's a client that wanted to have a different set of colors depending upon what section of the site you're in. They make a lot of different types of labels, and so their thermal solutions are yellow. And so all of the pages that come up under the labeled products over here that have the thermal solutions are going to be branded with the yellow look. And so, unless I switch over to a different section over here, which I just did. And so you have the flexibility of being able to come up with a flexible CSS inside of Titan that allows you to kind of co-brand all the different things depending upon what section of the site you're in. So it shows a little bit of more of the CSS flexibility, but you can do with the Reflex template inside of Titan. Here's a healthcare provider. I think this is our last major thing. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the adjunct services that come along with Titan here in a second. But iCare is a independent healthcare plan operating here in the state of Wisconsin. And they wanted to put together a website that allowed people to self-select between the physicians that were servicing or offering the iCare plan, members that were already in the plan, and options to become a member. And so if we look at that website, you see that the self-selection options are available right on the homepage. And so one of the things that people wanted to do if they were members is to be able to look at an events calendar. And so here's another one of the Titan-based package events calendars using same features. You see a different kind of slightly different branding, but very similar look and feel. So if I'm looking for an event near me to provide more information, about some of the plans or packages that they have or some of the education they offer, you can do that. When I'm looking at becoming a member, one of the things I want to do is be able to find a plan. So here we have a filter block against the Titan data node where I can select a county, like Door County. I can select the type of coverage that I have and short-term, long-term, and then it narrows down the 2 results of the plans that are available in my county for the type of plan that I'm looking for. So nice way to leverage some of the quick features that are available, powerful features that are inside of Titan. All right. And so digital marketing case study. Actually, I'm going to, we got a couple of questions over here. So I don't know if we have a chat. I'm kind of looking back. And does the library require the data to be entered into Titan, or are there connectors to integrate with other database sources? There are connectors. Ken, who asked that question, does the library, I think we're going back and talking about some of the different libraries. There was one on Pactive while we were doing data nodes, another one on Pactive Earth Choice where we loaded up from Salsify. So there are data connectors to a variety of different connections. We've done things to SAP, to JD Edwards, to Dynamics, Microsoft Dynamics, and certainly can take feeds from Oracle. We do that at Snap-on and any SQL database. And those connectors, where they're not full packages yet, this is kind of code that we have on the shelf that is readily available and repurposable. Very often you're going to have to customize it and put that stuff together for each individual client, but that is something that we can do. And let's see. Oh, and John already answered the question in the chat. There we go.
Sorry about that, Pat. Yeah, it's things coming in. I'm taking the opportunity to chat back. So
very good. Thank you. Yep. I'm just yapping away and I'm staring at my monitor. So
keep going. You're doing great.
One of the downsides of the thing. And the news stories, where do you have to go behind the scenes? The news story submission editing publishing method, where you don't have to go behind the scenes. I missed whether 6.9.5. It's available in 6.9.5 and 7.0. So Jay Walsh, who asked that question, that display site editor is something that's been in Titan since version 6.4.
I think 8. Yeah, it's been around a while.
I think to put that one together for my Frontline Hero took probably a day or two. We had to decide what fields we were going to offer, build up the Titan data node internally. You can generate the actual form pretty readily, and then we had one of our front-end developers style it so it looked nicer for, that was just a form submission. So the actual data editor, et cetera, we had one of our developers put that together. I think it took about a day. We used an intern for doing most of it, where they put all the fields and parts together. And a lot of it is generated automatically right out of the box, and then you just kind of have to arrange it and make sure it's all hooked up to the right parts inside of Titan, and you're ready to go. So these are things that can be done pretty darn quick, meaning days. You have to put a display site editor against any basic Titan data node. Anything to add to that, John?
No, that's, I was trying to quick find the time frame that we initially added, and we've had data editing, since 6.2. So yeah, it's more in modern times where we've done the packaging and that type of thing to make it easier to disseminate those types of custom editors, but we've had the ability to do that for quite a while. Okay.
All right. So thanks for those questions so far. Coming back to our thing over here, I want to talk a little bit about some of the other services. So this is a kind of an example. I'm just going to talk about this for a minute or two because it's something, if you're going to build a Titan website, you might as well make it do useful things. And so we have a whole digital marketing, digital strategy division here at Northwoods, probably a third of our company right now active in this sort of thing. So here's a client that was a manufacturing client that was paying for branded keywords and not very focused, and they had some longer tail keywords. So they wanted to do a paid search strategy that focused on terms that were specific to their industry in order to drive more qualified traffic. And so you can see in less than 2 months, the hard leads here are up over 200%, 64 leads up, plus 43 more leads than we had previously. Right in the middle over here, you can see their ad spend came down 55% from what they were spending before. The cost per conversion was down $222 to $39. So when they're talking about driving a hard lead to the site. So this is something that do that. How did they do that? They conducted keyword research to be able to figure out what words were relevant. And they crafted a new content strategy around that so that they could focus on the specific targeted landing pages specific to those words. And created a blog with monthly new content and incorporated ads to drive people to these new landing pages. So here's some of the example of that kind of work where we see the keywords that were identified, the URL that we were driving traffic to, and you can see the position where these things were ranking on Google search results. And you can see that how their organic traffic, where we took over, increased dramatically for getting the placement for organic keywords over time. So this is something that we were able to put together for a client using our digital services thing. Here's another client where we did content strategy and digital advertising. And we, in working through doing that same sort of research to identify keywords and to drive traffic more specifically, we were able to increase 6,800 more keywords than they had previously that they were ranked for. And we saw a 6% increase in organic traffic, and online sales increased 8% to drive $350,000 in online sales. We're not identifying the clients here to keep this private, but this is all the work of our digital content strategy team here at Northwoods. All this was done within a 5-minute time frame. All right, that's enough of a client showcase. Let's take a 30-second to 1-minute little break, and then we're going to dive into Titan 7.0. Welcome back. All right, so we're going to kick this off with a little video we put together in the last week that shows off some of the new features, and then we're going to take a deep dive in and put this all up together. So without further ado.
Here are the top 7 changes you'll notice in Titan CMS 7.0. Titan CMS 7.0, powered by Northwoods, builds on all the same functionality of previous versions of our software, with added features to improve efficiency and ease of use. You'll especially appreciate the brand new, simplified, and easy-to-use interface. But that's not the only change you'll notice. The Page Action toolbar and Edit tabs have been replaced by a combined and simplified app ribbon. And the Results Action menu brings all the specialized actions to a common location across all modules. You won't have to use a clunky interface to move blocks on your page, because in Titan CMS 7.0, it's all about the drag and drop. Our new and improved Add a Block menu is not only easy to use, you can also add blocks to your global library that will save all of your block styling and zone specifications. And uploading multiple files has never been easier. Another benefit you'll notice is the streamlined user interface in the Titan Administration module, featuring a flattened navigation tree. And you'll appreciate our brand new search crumb that lets you search and navigate through your entire Titan CMS workstation and filter by both content type or date modified. Titan CMS is used and trusted by thousands of marketers and IT professionals across the globe to build websites, portals, intranets, extranets, and more. See how Titan CMS 7.0 can help you grow your business at titancms.com.
Thank you. We put that video together in the last week. So let's jump in and talk about what we've been talking about for over a year now, and a lot of effort behind the scenes. Just as a quick aside, I realized we didn't talk about all of the amazing technical innovations that we've made behind the scenes, in addition to all of the user interface stuff that we're going to talk today. So we'll have another little introduction for more of the techie types. Usually TUG is attended more by the marketing types, etc. And so we're going to skip over some of that today, but there's been a ton of technical innovations. All right, here they are side by side. You're seeing Titan 7.0, cleaner interface, a lot of the elements of what has happened over here as we've flattened the design. So all of the gradients and the fills and the shadows and the extra lines, etc., have all been removed in order to have a much cleaner interface, simpler, easier to look at. You'll find shortly that these columns are dragged. We're going to go live here in a second. A very prominent and dominant search function across the top that offers a lot of flexibility and powerful features. You're looking at the dashboard on the 2 different versions of 7.0 and 6.9.5. We've consolidated the tools on the side. Talk about that a little bit more. what was it? Our design approach, we removed the graphics, lines, gradients, shadows, decluttered. We added a ribbon across the top, and we conformed to the 80-20 rule for tools and buttons. What are the things that you use 80% of the time that are most common? We took a lot of observations, usability observations of 10 years worth of data of how people are using the existing versions of Titan. And so these are the things they do all of the time. Let's make those the most prominent buttons, which simplifies everything for, especially for new users, without losing any features. All the features that you had before are still there, just rearranged, and some of the ones that you use less frequently are tucked out of sight so they're not cluttering up the interface. So we think we've gone for clean, simple, and beautiful. And of course, our design approach in 7.0 is to listen to your feedback once you get in there and start using it, and do that in version 7.1. 7.0 uses a ribbon across the top. Everything that you see over here with copy and paste and move and preview and refresh app bars and upload and download and publish and tags and security and history and stats is all still available. It's just under different pull downs. So the most frequent thing that somebody needs to do is publish a page, and as opposed to save, which was not done very frequently. It's something that can be done, and we'll show you how that still works. Being able to see the results of a search, or being able to look at the overall results pane of what your the page section of the site that you're working in. Editing the content and properties are the three most common things that people need to do. So let's jump in to Titan 7.0. And over here I have open previous version of Titan, and we're going to keep both these open side by side so we can go back and forth between them. So we see the tree over here. You'll notice one of the things, especially if you're a larger client of Titan and you have 50,000, 100,000 plus pieces of content that you're managing, you will notice almost immediately that the tree is tremendously faster than it has ever been before, even if you're not a webmaster. So you're an editor, author, and you have security turned on because some of your content is private. That is always, especially on very, very large sites, performance could have been a challenge in the past. That has been solved. And so we have a whole new set of algorithms and queries that we're using in order to build this tree in a very intelligent way. All of the same stuff is still there as before, and the ability to drag and drop this as big or as small as you want. Before we could binarily, we could make it small or large, but if you had very large data nodes down over here, I don't have anything in this thing, but if some of these names extended before, then you'd get a scroll down button before. That was annoying. And so now if you have that situation going on in your tree, be able to drag that column width, making it wider so that there's more room for the tree. Now, all of the widgets still can be dragged and dropped around to different parts of the page. So if you want to rearrange the site, you can do that. And I think we have all the widgets displayed, but there's a couple more. So if I wanted to add a new widget, I could, and that would appear down below, or I can delete that widget from the page if you're rather have a different set over here. That can be customized per user, per site, to be able to save that for your individual personalized view. Diving in, so if I go into a site, and what we're looking at over here is the site called Coffee Shop. This is available right now on demo.titanclient.com. It's a public site. When we talk about your ability to get in here and play with Titan 7.0 in the near future, you will have access to this particular site. So this is a coffee shop that we have built up from the ground, using content stolen from all sorts of sites all over the world to just put together a sample coffee shop with a menu and a set of events and etc. So this is a demo site that you can use to play and experiment with Titan. And this is an available download. When you get a new version of Titan, you'll be able to install this. And we're going to talk about sandboxes. So anyways, I have a version of Coffee Shop loaded up over here in 6.9.5 and a version of Coffee Shop now in 7.0. So going across the top, if I'm looking for a particular set of information, I wanted to find dark coffee, I can start at the top. I can say, oh, and it remembers previous searches that have been made, or I can hit dark across the top, and there's my dark coffee. So if I search for just the word coffee, you can see I get all sorts of results across pages, data nodes, and I don't know if we can scroll down. If there's some assets, there's probably other assets. We have images, pages, and data nodes all available inside of this search over here. And so if that particular search is too broad, I now have available in me on the top, I can say just search for content pages only. And now I'm filtering, and that search is related to just content. Or I could say search for just files. And there's all the just files that are available with the word coffee in them. And this is kind of cool. Files that were uploaded with the name coffee in the last 30 days, there's one. And so a very advanced, powerful search feature has now been built in. That did not exist in 695. You had a very simple, not simple, but we had a search over here with as of 695 with a search history in it, but not the ability to filter like we can now. And so I can select this particular image. This is going to go on the file thing. Actually, I want to work with content first. So we're going to go in and, oh, you know, one of the things, let's go back to the top of the site. I'm on the results pane, etc. If I wanted to edit a page, like the home page, double click on it, brings up our block view over here. And so now enabled inside of this page is all of the content. You're seeing all the blocks. I can see the properties related to those blocks, all the same properties that you know and love, but rearranged a little bit. John, how many things did we move stuff around much here?
In the properties section, no. We used a lot of the same categorization of fields. The graphic layout of it here is basically the same. I think we maybe rearranged a couple of fields to move, I think, the sorting pieces up. There's a couple of sorting features that we brought closer together. But for the most part, everything it's all the same fields for sure. So any field that you had previous is going to be a field still going forward. If you're spanning a later version of Titan, like prior to 6.9 or 6.8 even, you might see a couple of new fields that have come in recent time. But nope, everything is what you're used to.
Okay, so just a whole new cleaner look and feel. And as long as we're here, we can say that as you're editing inside of here, if you make a change, it's going to highlight it. And with a changed function over on the right-hand side, if I do something illegal, try to name a URL with something that's not allowed in a URL, we are doing checking and validation on the fly as we go. So we're trying to catch as many errors as we can ahead of time, just as they happen, as opposed to waiting for what's going on. So not only turn the box red, the label red, we give you a message over here telling you what's wrong, and we will not let you save as long as there's a red exclamation point up on the top over here. So it's pretty quick to be able to find if you have a problem. If you fix it, it resolves and everything cleans up itself real nicely on the interface. So that's, I don't know there's too much more to show because it's pretty much the same, just kind of a new layout and look over here. So going back, oh, and you say, as long as I'm over here on the ribbon too, we also have now workflow security, history, tags, notes, and statistics. So let's say I'm working on these pages and I'm trying to update all of the tags, which is a very common thing that somebody would do. So now tags becomes since that's the most recently accessed piece of content on the top, you'll see that that has now anchored itself as an additional option across the top. If I go back and forth to properties, tags is going to stay there. If I go to Africa and I move around to different parts of the site, tags is going to stay persistent on the site until I switch to something else. So really kind of, we've observed people over the years, and mostly they work with tags at one time or security at one time, and they get in and they glance at statistics, occasionally write notes, occasionally go back and look at version history, or more often they might be tags or security, the things that they would do most often. And so these are the things. So rather than cluttering up the toolbar with all of those options across the top, we just kind of put one of them one at a time across the top. So I'm curious to see what the feedback is on that after. Give it a week or two as you're working with Titan 7.0 and see if that's acceptable. All right, so let's go back over to the content tab over here. We're looking at a page with the freeform editor. A couple new features. One, you saw this in the video. I can rearrange blocks by dragging and dropping them. I can also rearrange them by using the arrows, just like I could before. So that's there. This is new, collapse all blocks. And so I can take all the blocks, open them, or collapse them at the same time. You can also see which block is selected with the little green bar over on the side. And as I double click on it, I can actually launch the editor right from this view, go right into the freeform editor. This is newer, cleaner, and the buttons, the done and cancel buttons, are on the top right. Hopefully a consistent thing throughout Titan 7.0. They are no longer down on the bottom of the page where they had been previously. So if we bring up the old coffee block editor, this is all contained inside of here. Hard to see which block exactly was selected at times. We could collapse the blocks, but we had to do them one at a time. And I should note also, as long as I'm here, that how often does that happen to people? I know you can't all. If you're in the room, I'd hopefully say I'd have a whole bunch of hands shooting up, where you're kind of hovering over and you actually bump into the block picker, and all of a sudden it's in the way. You got to move your mouse out of the way. And also the fact that the delete button is so close to the edit button has always troubled me. And so we've taken that now and moved all of that. I'm going to get out of here for a second. We've moved all of those functions all the way over to the right over here. The gear opens up the interface to allow us to deal with the block styling attributes that can be applied to any particular block. And I can now drag and drop those in addition to using the arrows to be able to apply styles to a block. And if I want to see all the styles, I can turn on the information button over here. Actually, let me find one that has more styles assigned to it. I think Coffee does here. Let's see how many blocks we have. There we go. Featured text, featured image. So now you can see some of the styles are float 33s. And this particular block doesn't have anything, but real easy to see what kind of block it is. So you know what you're getting into. I can open and close them individually, one at a time, and get in there, double click to edit it, be able to move and see this. I got some very large images on the front page over here. And here's a filter block. It's rendering and giving me a preview of what that filter is going to look like once it's live on the website. And again, being able to double click on it loads up the filter editor. And now you can see, we try to maximize the amount of space that is being done for each one of the blocks so that you're getting a full, much of this internal panel here, the content panel, is made available for you to work with, and a whole new set of just really cleaner, better, easier to use interfaces. If something is not available, you see it is very dramatically grayed out. So the filter area title is not an available option at this time. You can see the parts and pieces that aren't available are dominantly grayed out, and basically probably because I have to select something would be my guess, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so once we select the page, yeah, what else do I need to do here, John, to turn some of those things on?
Well, you need to, let's see. Oh, you need to select a style that would apply to it. That would give you that option. So,
okay.
Yeah, there could be a little.
Okay. Anyways, so off we go. So we have that. Again, being able to open and close these blocks to figure out which one you're working on. And once you identify a block, if you wanted to rearrange stuff, very easy to do either in either one of these views to be able to drag them up, drag them back down to put them back where they were. And it actually has an awareness that it's back to the original thing. So nothing more to do over here. Up on the top, we have the breadcrumb, as we alluded to in our opening video. You can see where you are on the site as you're navigating through. It's building a search. And now if I'm, actually not much here, let's put regions. If I'm in a larger website, I can type in Africa, and it will now filter the results inside of this section of the website from that point in the tree forward. When I do a search up on the top here, it searches the entire site. This is a filter that applies to the current page view or beyond. I can, of course, apply that filter to the whole website. So if I wanted to look for the word dark, I can see it just on the home page, but if I include children, that filter now extends throughout the entire website to all, wherever I am in that part of the tree forward. That's similar to the feature that worked before. I think it's just a little bit more obvious as to what's happening here because we've identified that as a filter. If you look over here before when we were looking at the results pane, etc., this wasn't necessarily clear that that was a filter. And what's the difference between this and this? Not terribly clear. And so we've added some clarity to that as we go forward. And also the whole section of changing my view, it's still there. It's just been moved over to the view over here. And all the same information that was available before is still there. I can make custom views. This one happens to be a view of all of the parts of the site that and show me which blocks are on those pages. So here's a page with lots and lots of freeform blocks. Double click on there, bring it up in the editor. Off we go. All right, let's jump into the editor a little bit further. Opening up the freeform editor, which all of us use all of the time. And we have some great new features. This has been there for a long time, but it's always revealed to somebody who doesn't know that the fact that you can see what styles are affected by the content that's being selected down below over here. You can see it's body with H1. This is just body with a P tag around it. So if you're an advanced user, that's been available to you. The save and submit button, or the cancel and done buttons, have been moved up to the top, again, to be consistent. what we had before, and the new and improved content picker. So first, let's make a link. So come on over here. We're giving you the full screen, and hopefully there'll be some applause on this one too. The fact that we now have the tree open right from the get-go. So if you're picking content, you have the tree, because most people do that as opposed to searching. I just find searching to be faster and easier, but not everybody else does. And so we have the tree open for you so that you can go through and find where you want to make a link. We want to link off to this part of the site. We click done, and now I've built a link to Manhattan. You can unlink that really quickly. Let's go back in there, and I want to embed. Let's work with links again. I can link to a page inside of the website. I can also certainly search for any particular piece of content, etc. This is actually searching across the whole site now, so it's actually found images as well as pages inside of that search results. So that's kind of cool. That's been there all along, and also the same thing we can do on the home page I can do over here and find stuff that's been in the last week, and there's nothing. Let's see if it's something in the last month. There we go, a couple things there. And search by pages or just files or just data nodes. So the same kind of search that we have on the main page for the main search bar on the home page is also available over here. We've added a new view inside of here. Let's go down to the file pile and go to the coffee shop. Let's just go to files, coffee shop. Oops, I got a bunch of filters applied. Let's get those cleared out. And anytime. We have a thumbnail view, which loads up a set of thumbnails for each of the individual files that we might have in the coffee shop. Let's go down over here.
You are filtered just the pages, it says.
Did I? Oh, thank you. That's why I'm in the thing and I'm doing pages. That's why I'm not seeing anything. There we go. Thanks, John.
Yep.
If I'm over here and I look in the coffee shop, look in the featured images, there's a whole bunch of images. You will find in 7.0 that this view, which a lot of people have, some of our larger clients have thousands and thousands of images inside the system, and this could lag at times. You'll find that also has been tremendously sped up. And John, how did we accomplish all that?
The main way we accomplished it is using a technique that you may have heard of called lazy loading. It's a way that we don't load every image just because it's in the HTML that is making this screen. We wait until an image scrolls into the current viewport, and then we load it dynamically at that time. So by not taking all the time to render every image out of, well, this case is only 9, but you might easily have thousands of images in a folder, in a file pile, rather than load every single thumbnail for all those 5,000 images or whatever it is. We only load it when it scrolls into view. And that has made the screen much more responsive.
Yeah, so and we're doing that throughout the site in all the different places where you're bringing up content is kind of the just-in-time, as you said, lazy loading feature. So this is a new view to be able to look at an image and the name. This is kind of cool because sometimes people make very long names of their images. And if the old view that we had over here with the gallery view, they would run into each other. And unless you hovered over it, you couldn't quite quickly see which image was what. So adding in this thumbnail view allows that. You notice that the first time I brought this up, it was a little bit of a lag in time. And actually, we're calling it a feature of Titan. The very first time you do something like loading a block or an editor or the content picker or a set of images, etc., behind the scenes, it's kind of compiling and caching that. And then that will stay active for quite a while, I think during at least that session or as long as that application, as long as somebody's working inside of Titan. And so the next time it will come up very, very fast. Initially, the very first time you might load something in the morning, there might be a slight delay while it compiles and caches and builds all of the code behind, but it's actually designed to work that way so that you only have to suffer once, and hopefully it's a very, very small amount of suffering. And at that point forward, as we switch back and forth, you're going to see that the speed at which something can come up is going to be tremendously faster, as you can see right now. So building a link, same thing we can do an external link. I can see all the recent things that I have been clicking through to. This is going to be handy, always has been. Building an email link, added a telephone link, and certainly the anchor link if you provide a name or a link to an existing anchor tag inside of the system. The ability to upload files into one of the folders is disabled. So if I come into the content picker for the very first time, and I click over here and I try to upload, you can see these are grayed out, or I can't click on them. And that's because I haven't selected a folder yet. One of the things that I got an error of about 100 times in my lifetime is trying to upload something without picking that folder first. So we just don't let you do that anymore. And rather than giving you an error, we just say, yeah, pick a folder. And once you do that, then the upload function is available. And so we have, and actually if I want to upload, I can upload an image into a content site, but I can put it into an image folder. And now you can see it's available and uploading files. And this is available over here. And is this the multi-file upload right here?
Yeah, it is. In fact, all the file uploads that you'll experience in 7.0 are multi-file. So you'll be able to select multiple items off of your local machine or network drive or whatever, and it will queue them all, and it'll be with a common interface, so it should seem pretty ubiquitous after a little while.
So every place you go inside of Titan, we see the same interface for uploading information. And the multi-file upload, as you can see right here, I've selected 4 images from my local hard drive, and I can make them available for upload, or I can clear that on out, etc. So this little button on the side allows you to choose the file, either one at a time or multiple files at the same time. So we don't have to do multi-file upload. It's just always there, always on.
Yep.
Okay. Features, pictures, etc. So if I'm in here and looking at the image and I want to insert a piece of content or link to an image, I can pick which size file I want to do. That's always been there. I can preview that image if I want to take a quick glance to see what's going on with that. And as always, we have the image editor available to resize, crop, and rotate that image down to the size that we need. And so we can put in the crop information. It's starting with a very small crop here. And you get that quite right. Well, can't quite crop it.
If you can, if you change it, if you uncheck constrain, you should get the other.
There we go. That's why. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Preventing you from doing. This is why you should do the demo, John, and in the same room. Okay, so that's how we can do that. I can apply a crop if I wanted to, apply it, and as always, save as a different file, same as before, and apply the changes or cancel, which is what we're going to do over here. So I think one of the things we just really wanted to highlight is the fact that this content picker now, image picker, is much, much bigger, give you a lot of space to work with as opposed to a little window. And if you wanted to upload a new version of an image, you can upload a new version or download this particular one. This download and that download are the same, so it's downloading the individual file, but this upload uploads a new version of this file, where this upload uploads a new file in general into this folder, the featured images folder. Okay, I think those are the main things we wanted to copy. The view source is still available, color-coded, a little enhancement there. We have the latest version, or one of the latest versions of the CK editor, always staying up to date with that, and making all of these search and replace. You can actually search and replace inside of here if you're looking for specific code HTML, more advanced users might take advantage of that. All right, what else did we miss? Let's go back to our PowerPoint here real quick. We talked about, we'll get into the other admin sections real quick here. Let me see what else we have. We talked about the new tree. The navigation has been improved and greatly sped up, especially for large sites. Drag to enlarge and shrink, speed we talked about. The content has been enhanced. We have the filter, the children, the actions button. I didn't talk about actions. And so if I'm looking at over here, adding a block, here's our new add a block interface with all of the, I think the default order is in alphabetical order, but you can rearrange this. There's one of the admin sections that you wanted to do if you wanted freeform to be first. But unlike where it seemed kind of random in the past, there's actually a method to our madness previously, but right now this is in alphabetical order. And these are the copies that people have made of blocks, or you have made of either individual blocks or page share blocks, where I can drop in a set of content. So I'm going to review that because it's been a feature for quite a while. But if I liked this piece of content, maybe it's a contact us page or some standard footer or a news call out or something that I want to be able to reuse on different pages, or maybe I just have the template. I really like the way that this has got the styling done on this page. And there's a layout where I've put in information on the way the images are floated. All of that stuff stays in addition to the zone now, right, John?
That's right. Yep.
Okay, and so that's new. And so when I do copy, I give it a name, and this is called Pat 2, and I can make it just for myself, or I can make it available to everybody. So it's kind of a template for this block, as I spend a lot of time getting everything just right and floating just right. And now I make that globally available, Pat 2. And now in the add a block section, Pat 2 is available. And I can click bang, and there's another version of that block just got dropped in on the page. So that's a feature that's been in 6.7, 8. It's been there for a while. A lot of people don't know about it. And it's a great way if you're developing content templates to just build a little library of stuff and then build your own little Word document, a training thing as to what's available inside your organization. I can delete this. As you can see, that form has been deleted, and I can actually recycle it right away, right from here. Delete, recycle, delete, recycle. And so that's all available for me. And again, it remembers the zone that that block was in previously. So if I wanted to change the zone on any one of the blocks, I can click over there and make it available in a different zone if I wanted to make a change there. All right, add a block. We'd have to talk about the actions, right?
Yep, back on results, right? Yep.
All right, let's go back over there. Let's go back to the results pane. Okay, so if I select a page over here.
Say no, yep.
No, thank you. So now I can select a page or multiple pages. I haven't mentioned yet that we have multi-tag and edit is still available. And now I can do individual actions. So where are all those other buttons that used to be on the top? Right down, right next to the page where you'd be looking for them. So if I say coffee, I have the option to edit that page. I also can double click on it. I can jump to that page in the tree. I can preview that page on the display side. Open the live version of that page as it exists on the public website, different than a preview. So what does that page currently look like is now an available option. Copy it to another section of the website or move it to another section of the website. And here's an example of the fact that this copy function is taking just a slight delay in being able to open up because I haven't used it so far. So let's go back in there. We're going to do actions, copy, boom, it's up. And so now from this point forward, again, for the rest of the day, for as long as the application is still open and being used, that is going to stay in the high speed zone. So you're going to see that action. So we have copy, move, and or delete to be able to get rid of a page altogether. So all of those little tools that used to be all cluttered up and taking up a persistent room either on the top or the side are now under the actions button. And you're going to see these actions adjust depending upon where you are in the site and what's available to you for the type of content that you're working with. All right. Any other main things we have to cover here? We talked about actions, Titan 695. Oh, we've removed the jump function and the edit links down over here in replace of just a double click on the actual block bar to identify it. And this actually is not the actual edit button in the display. That's just indicating the type of content that it is. And actually that's a nice way to edit. If you're an advanced user, power user, you can see the doc ID 155. That's not relevant to anybody unless you happen to be a power user, in which case you can go and you can type doc ID 285, and I can now search for that particular reset over here. That search didn't kick off right away. Doc ID 285.
Hit enter.
All right, there we go.
Okay, so you got something going on, Pat, where your suggester is popping up. It's a local one, not the suggest that's built in. And I've already got something in mind to take care of that.
Okay, fine.
Just so you realize.
Little bits and pieces, et cetera, and not we're pretty darn close to perfect, but there's probably a few other things that we're polishing up. And this is actually, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, is one of the things that how we do upgrades and the power of TPI, the Titan Platform Installer, and the fact that we can push out other stuff. Okay, there. Okay, so we want to kind of move forward over here. We talked about the search function up on the top, the ability to filter results. That's now the core part, a very powerful search. We have 695 sitemap down below, a powerful search, and this was available previously but wasn't necessarily obvious. Inside of the search, we can it's a breadcrumb when you're not using it as search. You can type in keyword searches, history and suggestions, filter time, type of content, doc ID. You can also search for a URL. I didn't demonstrate that, but you can type in a slash or type in a path, cutting and pasting it from the existing site. So if you're on the public website and you want to find coffee by region Pacific, I can come back into Titan and I can search for something specific inside there, and that will actually locate that page. So a very nice, fast way to identify and find a page based on the URL from the other site. And very quickly, advanced search is still there. All the things that you know and love about advanced search are available. Again, first time you load it up, it's going to take just a second to compile in the background. And then you're going to see this big, hairy, monstrous, powerful, very, very powerful advanced search and replace function that allows you to do some really, really cool stuff. If you've had the occasion to use advanced search and replace, this is one of the things that sells Titan to some of our bigger clients when they're working with large databases, the fact that they can do such dramatic and powerful replaces of content inside the site. All right, advanced search we talked about, blocks we talked about, the change of style. I think you just look at this and you can see the difference in clean, display, easy to use versus what we have in the clutter of 695. And we know we loved it, 695, but it's time for it to go to its happy, restful place. We're sending it to the farm where it will be happy and live out its better days. Design approach for all blocks. We talked about it collapsing, expanding all. We moved the delete button, how you can select and identify which block has been selected, and remove the mouse over on add a block so that's not popping up at you all of the time. So you're on a page and you're adding a block to the page, you actually have to click on this now. It doesn't just pop when you hover over it. All right, freeform editor we talked about. Largely the same, just an upgraded version of it, and moving the OK and the cancel down below to cancel and done up to the top. We talked about the content picker and how that's new and improved and greatly expanded in the amount of space that it takes on the screen. And the tree is open at the start. The search is far more obvious. And the upload and download of versions is available now right on the content itself. And the admin interface, there's not a whole lot to show over there. I'm going to go into it real quickly, and then we're going to make a little bit of time for a Q&A as we go forward here. But I think one of the dramatic things that's new and different, I think I'm going to show it on the content sites over here, is that this tree has been simplified. So it used to be many levels of the tree as you go inside, and instead of that, we've gone to this internal side navigation. So when you're working on the demo site, here is all the stuff relevant to that. Here's the tags, here's the security, here's the themes, the blocks, the search segments that are available inside of there, and whether you're activating or deactivating different tags. And so this is an interface that's available on themes and data schemas, et cetera. You're going to see the same sort of internal navigation available. What are the tables? What are the relationships, displays? And you'll be able to see the action menu here is relevant now to what is the stuff that has to be happening for this kind of content. So all the same stuff is there. It's just styled differently and arranged differently, we think, in a more intuitive, easy to look at way. A lot of people don't spend a lot of time in the admin section, and that's fine. You don't necessarily need to, but all the same functionality is still there, just kind of rearranged and hopefully made simpler. Same thing with users, all the same stuff that we knew and loved before, except there's a ribbon across the top for users. So you get results from the different types of searches and searching and identifying users by how they're tagged or what groups they belong to, looking at their profile information or their accounting information, and again, a more button that's available for the additional things that you might want to know about a user. Is available under the users section over there. Okay, we have to keep moving here. So Smart Search also has been updated and moved forward into the new look and feel. Same thing with the actions over here, getting into any one of the public sites over here. If I wanted to see the keywords in action, I would click on keywords. And we've moved the administration of search out of the admin section into the Smart Search section. So this is the place where you have to check. What are all the things under admin real quick, John?
Well, it's primarily where you would create the index for your site and determine which pages are part of that index and configure the timing for the DT search indexing tasks, that type of thing.
Okay. So moving forward here, you can see here's the keywords looking what it looks like under Smart Search. Again, we don't have time. to do all this today, but we will make this available in our Delta training classes, which I'm going to talk about shortly. All right, let's talk about quickly, and before we get to Q&A, Titan Platform Installer and Packages. So you saw this slide about a year ago. I've updated it here. It's Titan 6.9 and previous. We basically had John. There were obviously 40 other people here at Northwoods doing all sorts of stuff, but the core development team focused on one person primarily, and we know him and love him, and he's still here. He's online today. But in 7.0, we've added to this team a whole bunch of people, and not only are they working in kind of the core Titan and working on various parts of it, but they're also developing everything you see down over here, which is these packages. And Titan 7.0 itself has been turned into a package that can be installed through TPI, Titan Platform Installer. So new at 6.9.5, and for all the people that upgraded to it, it's a necessary upgrade. You can't get 7.0 without it. So everybody that did 6.9.5, you're already 3/4 of the way there. It's a piece of software that lives on your web server where Titan is hosted that allows us to push out packages and have them installed intelligently and automatically. Whenever you put in a new piece of software, you have to update code, you have to make backups, you have to update databases, you have to configure settings on the web server itself, and all of this stuff requires complex scripts. And we've taken the guesswork out of that by having this platform installer be able to interpret a package with all of the right parts and pieces put in place. That this begins by making a backup and then checking that everything is required is in place and ready to go, and then pushing out the upgrade, and then closing it out and switching everything over in the web server so that that new site launches. And so we can push out changes. And I talk about 6.9.5, which is the version of Titan that we're currently shipping. It's actually 6.9.5.68. That is how many changes we have made in the last year since 6.9.5 was launched. 68 different changes. That includes fixes, new features, security enhancements, patches, individual customizations and other packages, etc. for what we have. And so we have inside of there, in that time, we have built Titan 7.0 as a package, TPI as a package, Reflex as a template. That's our base template going out there. We have an accessibility module. It gets you, I don't know, 30% of the way towards accessibility. A lot of accessibility has to do with how you put your content in, so it's really not something we can automate. But we put the kind of the basic parts and pieces there. Mega menu, calendar, search bar, social media, blog, integration with that map filter you saw on the Snap-on Makers and Fixers as a package. Single sign-on is one of our more powerful packages. It's available as an add-on module for being able to sign on to multiple systems at the same time through Active Directory authentication, etc. And on and on and on. So you're going to get more information about this as we reach out to you on our Northwoods Connect, where we're going to reach out to all of our Titan clients and beyond and talk about some of the new stuff that we have, make them available, and actually listen to the kind of stuff that you have. So anyways, 6.9.5 packages are available, and we're shipping everything via packages and installing them via TPI. So when we make a change to the mega menu for one client, we roll that into the package, and now that is available to all clients, and you can get that update. And that's why we have 68 updates that we've been able to push out to TPI, especially with some of the things not on this list. There's actually over 100 things on the list. Some of the things were internal little security patches or fixes or performance improvements that don't necessarily have a good name for them, and that's all been available. So Total Care, how do you do an upgrade? 1 monthly fee. This is something we're launching. We've had this for a little while, but we're kind of relaunching here today. With Titan 6.9 and beyond, you had maintenance and support. You paid after you bought your Titan license. You got a maintenance and support package, which gave you access to the upgrade, but not necessarily the labor to install it. Always a point of some confusion and an opportunity for us to do a better job here. And so if you had a calendar, maybe you used existing code and we could do it pretty quickly, but you still had to pay for kind of a one-off, and we built that into your SDK for each individual client. Well, now all of that stuff has been moved into Titan 7.0 into base packages that we will maintain and upgrade and enhance as we add features for one client or another. We will roll those hopefully into individual packages so that those are available. And with 1 monthly fee, which no upfront fee, so it's just a flat fee, you get the Titan Platform Installer, Help Desk, your hosting and cloud, all the upgrades to Titan, including 7.0 upgrade. So if you sign up for this, you can get the 7.0 upgrade as part of this package. All of the fixes and any package updates that we have to offer. And the only thing that's not included is our standard services for design and all the other stuff. So upgrades and total care are easier. It's a one flat fee. Upgrades packages, as mentioned. Access to the training library and manuals, help desk, hosting. It does not include your design and digital marketing and content and software development and training services, of course. But traditional upgrades for a fixed fee are still available. Especially if you're a self-hosted client, we don't have the total care package available for you yet. So hopefully something we'll be able to work on and figure out how to amortize that. But traditional upgrades, or if you don't want total care, that's fine. I think it's one of those things that's a deal that's kind of too good to pass up. So I'd highly encourage everybody to give it a very serious look. But total care takes the guesswork out. You're just going to be on continuous upgrades and enhancements for just kind of a flat fee with all of the support that you've known to grow and love inside there. So next up, before we get to Q&A, real quickly, responses to feedback is what we're going to be doing in 7.1. And actually, comments and ratings is one of the modules that we did not migrate yet into the 7.0 platform. It's not commonly used by 99% of our clients. So if you do have that and you're dependent on it, which I don't think is true for anyone, but we could be mistaken, that is something that we're going to get to next, and we're going to upgrade that and migrate it. But hopefully that doesn't affect the vast majority of our clients. So, and then we're going to listen to feedback and make other tune-ups, et cetera, inside there. So now, finally, in closing, before we get to Q&A, I mentioned that we're going to have Delta training sessions available. So if you would like to have your team or your staff available to receive a more in-depth version of what we went through today with 7.0 on June 10th for an hour and a half, 18th hour and a half, and June 23rd hour and a half, we will have our training staff available for free to go through Titan 7.0 with smaller sessions live on a live thing where you actually can ask questions live with shared screen. So it won't be like this webinar format where you will have the ability to, in basically a Zoom session, to watch and interact with us and learn more about Titan, et cetera. You can register anytime at titancms.com for Delta training or in the email that we're going to send as a follow-up. So those are starting real soon, and we'll be pleased to make those available to you. And if you've complete Delta training and you would like, and it would be useful to you, we can make a version of Coffee Shop available for you in 7.0 to play with. So we'll spawn off a copy, set it up on our Azure hosting environment, and give you some login credentials for a week or two. And you can go in there and work in the sandbox if you want to be able to take the opportunity to try before you buy some of the new features inside of Titan. So we'd be welcoming to try out a sandbox, etc. Okay, Tricia, Jamie, what do we have on the questions pile? I know we're about 5 minutes over, so if people have to leave, I understand. But if you want to hang out, we can take anything, etc. inside there. I think John's been answering these questions in the chat as we've been going all along over here.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep up with some questions. There's a lot of good questions that were kind of targeted to us, and some that I didn't answer right away. I think you covered when you talked about signing up for the Delta training so that you can get access to that coffee shop demo site to play in. That was one that was left open, but now covered.
Okay.
And Patrick, there was one other question related to the monthly fee for total care.
Yeah. And what is the question?
Just basically, what is the monthly?
Oh, there is the last question on the list. Okay. What is the monthly fee for total care? The answer is it's going to be in the hundreds of dollars to the thousands of dollars. So it's not a one size fits all. It's kind of like buying an insurance policy. So if you own a little zip car, your insurance is going to be less than if you own a Hummer. And so we have clients that have all different sizes and shapes. If you're a very small basic client using the Reflex theme with base packages and not a whole lot of customizations, frankly, we're able to crank through those updates in a day or two with generally sometimes even faster. And since a lot of that process, we've been taking great pains to make it automated. And that since your hosting costs are now rolled in there and your upgrade costs are now rolled in there, your monthly total care fee is going to be in the hundreds of dollars. And we should have a number of that out for you soon. If you have lots of customizations and you have lots of database integrations and you have 65 different themes that you're using on 4,000 different pages, then the upgrade and the total care package is going to be probably more in the thousands of dollars per month. But with those people that have very large installations are used to paying $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 for an upgrade, which is, I want to mention, is very rare. So we are way, way, way below the industry average for the same size sites. I'd say we're probably 25% of what it typically costs for a Kendico or a Sitecore upgrade. We've heard horror stories, and we're always happy to take those clients in. We're more expensive than a WordPress upgrade, but very often when you upgrade WordPress and you upgrade all those widgets, lots of things break, and that's what we're taking care of. So, WordPress is great, and we actually have a very robust WordPress practice here, where we're trying to take great pains to fix what's wrong with the WordPress the messes that are out there. And but the fact is that the widgets and the plugins are all developed by different development teams, et cetera. So when one upgrades, they don't all coordinate. In fact, they don't coordinate. And very often when the core WordPress-based package, like Titan 7.0 is released, all sorts of plugins stop working. And nobody has any idea why, and that's when you end up with a WordPress mess. We avoid that because our team here is developing these packages and maintaining compatibility. Okay. Question, Internet Box. If we already licensed for Titan, could you just create a new globe to support this? I believe that is correct. If you have enough globe licenses and your license is inside there, yes, you can create a new globe and deploy some of the features that are available for Internet in the Box. John answered that differently. What did you say, John?
Oh, no, I was answering a different question. Sorry.
Okay.
There is a question regarding the demo sites, and whether a comment I made in another chat section was related to that. I covered that. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so if you have Internet Box. Other questions, Jamie, that I might have missed?
I think there were one or two, but we can follow up with folks directly. No problem, since I know we're over time.
Okay, well, all right then. I know we're about 10 minutes over, which is not bad for a major launch of a new product. And if we were all in the same room, I'd buy you all lunch right now, but we're not. And so hopefully I will be able to connect with all of you. And I know that the other members of the team here at Northwoods are so very grateful for your trust and support and continue loyalty to the Titan-based product over the years. We hope we've done you proud. With our efforts, even in the middle of this pandemic, to keep things going. I should mention that Northwoods is doing just fine in the middle of the pandemic. We've got everybody working from home, even though we're going to start a limited reopening next Monday. So people that want to come back into the office can, and we're taking all sorts of precautions here at the office we've retooled all sorts of stuff. But we're financially sound, and we're in really good shape, growing and expanding. Even in the middle of the kind of the economic downturn, we're doing just fine and had no layoffs and anything else like that. In fact, we had a retirement, which was untimely, but it is what it is. For those of you who have had the opportunity to talk to Andre over the years, he has been our support guy, and he retired, and his plan was to go travel the world, and I guess that's on hold for the moment. But hopefully he'll be able to get back to that in sometime soon. So in the meantime, we continue to grow and thrive over here at Northwoods. And again, we thank you very much for all that you've done for us. We like partnering with our clients, and we feel very close. Many of you, we feel that we have a true partnership. You trust us, we trust you, and together we help you try to achieve great things with your website. So thank you all for coming today. And if you have any questions, certainly shoot us an email, call a question, and we can do a Zoom sessions and see each other face to face. So I'm signing off. Patrick, thank you very much. Thanks, John.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody.